Whenever I ask the Indian Air Force, what weapons did you use against which base, they said, Vishnu, sorry, there's some stuff that we are not willing to talk to you. So we would like to thank the Pakistani Prime Minister in a sense for confirming the use for what has been an open secret, the use of the weapon that you see on your screen, which is the Brahmos missile. Now the Brahmos strikes targets on the ground, it flies at Mach 3, it can be launched from the air. Several of these were, I believe, launched from the air as well. And the fact that we've seen so much damage on the ground, the fact that the Pakistanis are confirming it, the fact that they were saying that they intended to attack India, but before they could actually do that, India assaulted Pakistani air bases in this massive manner using the Brahmos. It clears up what we all believe, that Pakistan was really affected, impacted in a sense by the use of this particular missile. And a point, Shiv, that we need to repeat for our viewers over and over again is that in the sequence of events, it was the Pakistani Director General of Military Operations who initially rebuffed us. A couple of days later, this gentleman called up and said, no, we've had enough, let's now talk about a ceasefire. It was because of the impact of missiles like the Brahmos, which the Pakistani Prime Minister now confirms had been used.
Completely overwhelmed, Vishnu. The Brahmos not only penetrated air defense systems, but you have the explicit confirmation from someone like a Shehbaz Sharif. Not that anyone was looking for it, because the images that you accessed first here on NDTV told the stories as far as what the Brahmos actually inflicted on at least 4, if not more, bases. And I think the unfolding story of what the Brahmos actually did is more than just damage. For the political head of Pakistan to explicitly mention the Brahmos by name in a public speech suggests to me that the Brahmos not only penetrated airspace and hit those air bases, but has found a home inside the Pakistani political imagination and the psyche. The word Brahmos now represents the kind of uninterceptable damage that all of these air bases actually face. Remember that there are huge lessons that Pakistan and China will be sort of sifting through as a result of these attacks. And like you rightly said, Vishnu, I think the Brahmos is going to be a very key component in those lessons for both these countries, given that at this moment in time, despite large amounts of air defense weaponry, a lot of equipment, a lot of sensors, radars, preparations for this kind of thing, let's not forget in 2022, a Brahmos missile was accidentally fired into Pakistan. They had no clue about that as well. No sensors picked that up. It was found in some kind of farmland in rural Pakistan. So the Brahmos kind of represents a kind of semi-Brahmastra, if I can use that word. And I don't use it lightly, because these two countries haven't been able to find, a credible sort of defense or a deterrent against this weapon. And as you and I both know, Vishnu, it was the Air Force that launched these Brahmos A missiles off their Sukhoi 30s, but land-launched Brahmos and, more importantly, sea-launched Brahmos from ships, from the carrier battle group of the INS Vikrant, which the Defense Minister visited today, were primed to conduct even more, possibly more destructive damage on Pakistani targets. So the Brahmos, finding a very deserved spotlight, I would say.
In fact, what I can share with our viewers are a couple of more details about the Brahmos itself, Gargi. The Brahmos flies at Mach 2.8 to Mach 3. That is up to 3 times the speed of sound, closer to Mach 2.8. It's not a ballistic missile. It has a trajectory which can be variable. That depends on how it's programmed. It flies initially, in most senses, quite high. It's got different stages. The first stage actually fires off. You can see top right hand side of your screen. That's the booster, which takes it to a certain height, and then its main engine fires. It then accelerates to Mach 2.8. It then has a very accurate seeker as it homes in on its target. And what makes it virtually what makes it almost impossible to intercept is the fact that depending on how it's primed, it gets into terminal S-shaped maneuvers at 12 Gs. So extreme maneuvers at up to 12 G shortly before striking its target. So if there are surface-to-air missiles which are actually tracking it, that's all very well. But to actually get a missile to hit something that is maneuvering that hard in its terminal phase is almost impossible. This is something that's, it's been designed to defeat the most sophisticated naval, anti-missile systems. It's now been adapted by the Indian Air Force for launch from Sukhoi 30 fighters, as you mentioned. It's been used also by the Indian Army in the surface-to-surface configuration. One way or the other, there were multiple BrahMos attacks which did take place, and it's quite clear with the Pakistani Prime Minister saying that they hit and they hit hard, what the impact has actually been.
And in fact, one of the interesting things about the BrahMos, to close that thought, is that just a day after Operation Sindoor actually went into pause with that ceasefire understanding, you had the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurating a BrahMos facility in Lucknow. There are many more, BrahMos-linked initiatives that are now gathering steam because of the success of the BrahMos. The range of the BrahMos, Vishnu had mentioned that it's about 400 kilometers. There's going to be an extended range between 500 and 1,000 kilometers. That's already in the works. The Air Force wants the BrahMos to be able to be deployable off aircraft, not just the Su-30. So a miniaturized, lighter BrahMos of sorts is also in the works. A hypersonic, incredibly faster version of the BrahMos is said to be called the BrahMos 2 or the NG, the new generation. Then there are exports. Philippines became the first export customer of the BrahMos. I can confirm that there is a BrahMos team currently in Philippines, possibly pursuing a follow-on order of these missiles. Vietnam is likely to sign up next for these missiles. There are other countries in Southeast Asia, the Middle East, etc., Latin America that are looking to acquire the BrahMos, especially in the wake of what has happened in Operation Sindoor. So this is a time for the BrahMos to shine, and I think a lot of attention is going to be paid to increasing capacity, acquiring more of these weapons, and more importantly, improving them for whatever comes next, because we can be reasonably sure that Pakistan and China, between them, will be studying all this data and making sure that they try and come up with something to at least try and put up a credible defense against this amazing weapon the next time.
Just a few more details, before we end this segment. The BrahMos, for the benefit of our viewers, stands for Brahmaputra as BRAH, and MOS is Moskva, the Moskva River, as it were, in Russia. It was a Russian design which has been adapted and is a hallmark of Atmanirbharta. And let me tell you how, over a period of time, the missile itself has been upgraded using Indian systems. It's got an Indian seeker now. That seeker has been fairly advanced. It's gone through different iterations of technology. It uses different sensors to guide it to its target. There is new rocketry which has been involved, which extends its range greatly. It's as a result of extensive modifications done 100% in-house on the Sukhoi 30 platform that the BrahMos can be accommodated in a somewhat different physical variant to the Sukhoi 30 aircraft before being launched. The fact that we've integrated it with the fire control system of the Sukhoi 30 entirely in-house, no mean feat at all. I should also mention, as Shiv was saying, that that it's got a huge future outside, but it is also Atmanirbhar, and this is something I think that needs to be mentioned in terms of the actual structure, the metallurgy that's being done by Godrej, right? So it brings together Indian companies, Indian seekers, Indian rockets, Indian metallurgy, into original technology acquired from Russia. This is now more Indian than it's ever been Russian.